Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the first day of the REDI Summit event. We had two amazing days of great discussions, of amazing guest speakers. We focused on very interesting subjects such as Roma in green economy, microfinancing as an inclusion tool for Roma entrepreneurs and Roma communities. But also topics, that are of a great interest and come to support the economic development of Roma communities. Today we are going to speak about the projects implemented by REDI during the COVID crisis, but also to introduce our partner organizations with whom we have worked successfully. We came up with great initiatives and projects that come to support the Roma entrepreneurs. We will introduce these projects and give the chance, to discuss future cooperation and partnership plans. At the beginning, I would like to give the floor to my colleague Nadire Redjepi, who is the director of the field operations. Nadire will speak about what we learned in the COVID period, how we supported the Roma entrepreneurs in our core countries where we work, Macedonia, Romania, Serbia, and Bulgaria, but also in the extension countries such as Czech Republic, Hungary, Italy, Albania. So Nadire will give us an overview of the main projects that REDI developed, and then we'll continue with my colleague Marius Cristea, who is a project manager in REDI, and he will introduce the iSupport project funded by Erasmus Plus agency of the European Commission, together with the partners in that project. And then we will continue, with other presentations from our partner ERIAC, Kethane organization, and continue the fruitful discussion in this sense. Nadire, I would like to give you the floor, please.
Thank you, Cristina. So it's again a pleasure to be in the panel discussion to share our experiences from the field. Can you see my screen, just to check if you can see the presentation slide?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So I would give a short presentation on what has been learned during this COVID pandemic crisis from the field, and what we as REDI have provided as a support to Roma entrepreneurs. Because as the COVID started, I mean, it didn't influence only our personal life, but it also influenced our work with the Roma entrepreneurs, because they were mostly affected from the COVID crisis. And we had to switch to defining a new methodology, a new strategy for 2020 with implementing different type of activities. So as COVID started, the first thing that we did from REDI was trying to understand how COVID influences small and medium-sized entrepreneurs in Roma communities. And we had three main key findings from the analysis, in which we asked three set of questions, different type of questions on the impact of COVID on their businesses. And this type of analysis was run in early March, when the crisis hit it mostly, with 100 entrepreneurs from Romania, Serbia, and Macedonia. So our key findings were that in the current context of low to no income, 1 in 2 Roma entrepreneurs surveyed think that they will not be able to pay their rents and loans if the crisis is longer than 2 weeks. And the second finding was that around 90% of survey entrepreneurs do not see any opportunity to generate any income in the upcoming period, meaning this is referring to the period of March, April, May. And 6 out of 10 businesses owned by Roma entrepreneurs think that they will go bankrupt and close the business if there is no support measures taken by the government to ensure their cash flow. So these were the three key findings that we found early in March. And based on these findings, we defined support programs. But what was interesting, at the beginning of the crisis, we didn't know how long this is going to last. And these were the answers from the people, expecting that the crisis will end soon. But actually the crisis lasted much longer, and we don't know even when it will end. So this means that the real effects, it's still going to show up in the upcoming period. And what we have is a most recent finding that we did now in December in Serbia with entrepreneurs that we mapped. It's that the crisis has mostly affected musicians and collectors of secondary raw materials. And here it will be very interesting, I think, that we have Adrià today, who is going to present their work with the artists, because artists are really one of the most affected profiles from this crisis period. And the collectors of secondary raw materials are Roma, who are mostly collecting on the streets in Macedonia and in Serbia. So there are really big number of people that are doing this job. So looking just at these findings, we designed several programs. So one of them was Roma Call Center, which was aiming to provide easy access to information in order to support people to get to the government measures, to access to those government measures and access to different financial opportunities. Then another program was an emergency support to Roma community with food packages and other security kits for COVID. Then the third program was Roma Digital Boost, which was aiming to support Roma entrepreneurs from formal and informal businesses to transit to the digital sphere. The fourth program was Going Entrepreneurial, which we are implementing jointly with ERIAC, supporting Roma artists to start their businesses and implement their project ideas, their artistic project ideas. Another program is REDI Recycling, which is supporting informal waste collectors in Macedonia. And the last one is networking or Roma business clubs, which is aiming to put all Roma entrepreneurs in an organized association so that they can advocate for their own interests. So as you can see, we have a wide variety of programs that are trying to give support to different profile of entrepreneurs. So what was interesting for us when we started first with the first program, the call center, was that even the public institutions did not know how to implement the government measures, because it was something new for them to overcome this COVID crisis. And having in mind that we started also as REDI to implement a call center, which was new for us and new for the Roma entrepreneurs, at the same time, we had difficulties to reach out to the certain point with assisting entrepreneurs to access those measures. So we were able to take an entrepreneur with technical assistance until certain point, and then afterwards it was not easy to get them further, because as usual there is always lack of commitment from the public institutions to cooperate in order to support this type of call centers. But in general, we established 7 call centers, and one of them was in Italy, in which Dijana was Dijana, the representative from Kethane, will speak also about the call center in much more details in Italy, how we did it. But more or less, it showed results, and we managed to take those people who were interested to get some sort of support with some technical assistance to access those measures. But in general, I think there is still plenty of room for us, taking into consideration the gaps and the learned lessons from the call center to improve our work in the upcoming period, because I believe that 2021 will be even much challenging than this year, when the real effects will come in. Then, as many other organizations, we also provided emergency supports with masks and hygiene products to those who are collecting waste, informal collectors of waste, and also we provided access to water in Roma municipality in Macedonia, in Bitola. Then I would want to speak a bit about our Roma Digital Boost program, which was something new for us as an e-accelerator program, trying to support entrepreneurs to transfer from the traditional business to the digital business, and for the first time. So I think this was one of the good things that COVID brought us. It taught all of us that there is a new way of operating. So meaning that entrepreneurs were also forced to move to the digital sphere and have lessons with all of us to learn how to write the business modeling, how to do the impact with their business, how to change the model and to transit to the digital sphere. And here we had 60 entrepreneurs who were trained for digitalization from Romania, Serbia, and Macedonia. And out of 60 people, we had around 30 finalists, which prepared the business planning and competed for an award. And we provided award of a 5,000 euro grant for the first place, and there were other awards provided as mentoring, accessing different tools, platforms, website, etc., to the rest of the people who were competing for the first award. So what was one of the good results from this program, that we provided the award to 3 Roma women who won the first place, and this was also one of the goals of the program to support the entrepreneurial spirit of the Roma women and help them grow their businesses further. So I would like to show just shortly some products from our entrepreneurs from this Roma Digital Boost. As you can see, we had a variety of profiles that attended this program. Then we had a Going Entrepreneurial program, which is implemented with jointly with REDI. So over here, the goal was to assist the artists who were affected from the crisis, and we provided with 5,000 euro grant support to these entrepreneurs, and also mentorship support in order to develop business plans and to get closer to the entrepreneurial world. So over here, we had 11 cultural entrepreneurs who were supported to launch their businesses. Then another program, which is called REDI Recycling. This is the first type of company that we registered under REDI NGO in a form of social entity in Macedonia. And it has a business model of social entity, and the main goal of this company is to organize the informal collectors to collect waste in an organized way and transforming them from informal to formal collectors. And this is something also that I have to say. We have been working since the beginning of last year, and I'm hoping that we will manage to start with the operations beginning of next year. So the goal is here to start with a small group of informal waste collectors, and then enlarge this successful model in other regions where we have also many people working as an informal waste collectors. And another program that we have, which is also very important, is the networking. So we started creating networks with Roma business clubs, which is aiming to empower the Roma entrepreneurs in forms of networks so that they become an important voice so that they can advocate for their needs. And this came mostly this year from entrepreneurs from Serbia as a need to advocate for their needs, because they were lacking many sectors were left out from the government measures, and especially informal entrepreneurs were not supported by the government. And it's very important that we really build up the Roma community so that they can influence to these public government measures. And what we managed to do was that we had 300 entrepreneurs from Serbia interested to join the business clubs. And we are already at the first, we are already creating the business clubs in Serbia in form of association with core group of entrepreneurs. And we have an international network with Roma businessmen from 6 different countries around the region. So these are shortly the information about all the programs that we have. So as you can see, we have wide variety of programs that we are trying to implement. This is because REDI is a network of Roma NGOs, which is trying to build an ecosystem in the Roma community by using different tools, financial services, business development services, access to finance, human resources, networking, Roma business clubs. So these are type of really different components that are the main ingredients in building this ecosystem. And I believe that in order to create this ecosystem, all different stakeholders are important to join, as we have today in our discussion all the partner organizations. So jointly, together with the partner organization and with other public institutions. So we still need to work hardly on creating this ecosystem. So this is shortly from my side. So I would be interested to hear at the end questions related to our work, because I already provided a lot of information. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Nadire. This was really very, informative. And I think as a conclusion, we can say that, COVID period was very difficult for all of us, especially also for the entrepreneurs. But somehow it made all of us get more creative, innovative, and come up with different tools, to lift up the Roma entrepreneurs. And I think the projects that you presented really showcase this, And now I would like to give the floor to my colleague Marius Cristea, who will introduce the iSupport project financed by Erasmus Agency of the European Commission. Marius, please introduce all the partner organizations, and I would like to hear about the results of the project, also the initiatives that came up as part of this project, because I know you had a very interesting, let's say, established startups or and entrepreneurs that successfully, took over after this project. Please, Marius.
Okay. So hello. We do have the partners from the project together with me today. I will let them present themselves and also present the contribution that they have within the project. For starters, let me share the screen, as we also have a PowerPoint presentation. See how this works. Are we good? Can you see me?
Yes.
So iSupport project, one moment. iSupport project development of a supportive framework of young Roma people is an Erasmus finance project within Key Action 2, Strategic Partnership for Youth. We started our activity with kickoff in January this year, and we estimate that we will finish work on the outputs of the project somewhere between April and May next year. Within iSupport, what we aim to do is we aim to promote entrepreneurship education and social entrepreneurship activities among young people. We will be focusing on Europe's largest ethnic minority, the Roma people. We are currently working on a set of measures that will address the main obstacles that Roma people face when it comes to entrepreneurship initiatives. And we aim to provide content and instruments solutions for lack of access to information, lack of know-how in market approach, lack of skills, and coaching. Just to talk a little bit about the extent of the project, we have 5 partners in the project, as mentioned. We have EAD from Greece, NOENCAM from Bulgaria. We have NEXES from Spain, REDI, which is lead on this, and ROMEDIA from Hungary. I will let my colleagues to talk about their work and to talk about their NGOs in a few moments. Within the project, we will develop a toolkit for entrepreneurs, which will be backed up by a training module and 10 videos for entrepreneurs. These will be put together within an online platform, which we aim to basically promote as an educational platform, and also containing support media files. This will be added information here as we will have additional work within the project in the following months. Next, I would like to ask my colleague Fenia to move forward with the presentation and basically to present output one. Fenia?
Yes, thank you very much, Marius. First of all, I would like to thank the REDI organization for inviting us here today to participate in this event and providing us with the opportunity to present ourselves and say a few words about the Y Support project that the whole partnership has been working on this past year. My name is Fenia Kalantzi, and I represent Institute of Entrepreneurship Development, IED, based in Greece. The organization's main activity is the implementation of projects under Europe's groundbreaking programs such as Horizon 2020 and Erasmus+. Our primary objective is to promote entrepreneurship in every possible way by promoting innovation and entrepreneurial culture. The successful implementation of European projects has enhanced us with skills and experience, values that we are going to utilize in this project also. Concerning Y Support project, Marius, could you share the presentation now that we are discussing for the intellectual output one?
Okay.
Great, thank you. We are leading intellectual output one. It will be a toolkit that will be created for the assistance of young Roma entrepreneurs and for all those interested in entrepreneurship in general. The toolkit will be treated as a self-learning tool, providing supporting materials necessary for business development. Some of the materials that we have decided to include after analyzing the existing needs are some useful templates with instructions and examples on how to use them, best practices of successful initiatives that could set the example, some videos that will assist in the best practices process, and a glossary with entrepreneurial terms necessary in the entrepreneurial world. These are some of the materials, among others, that you could find in the toolkit. The concept was to provide an innovative tool, easy to use, that will respond to the existing needs of young people, of disadvantaged people, of Roma young people, and assist them in creating their own business. This is the basic logic on the toolkit, and the partnership has been working pretty hard this year to prepare this. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Fenia. We will move forward with Adrià from NEXES, presenting output 2.
Sure. Thank you very much, Marius. Thank you, Fenia. It's a pleasure for NEXES as well to be here in this REDI Summit. And we are speaking to you from Barcelona. NEXES Intercultural is based in Barcelona. And we are a non-profit organization that promotes peace, culture, and global justice with the aim to foster a sustainable and social transformation. So having this in mind, the way that we like to promote this social and sustainable transformation is through creating nexes. Nexes means in Catalan and in Spanish, connections or bridges. And it's true, this is what we do. We connect young people, offering them opportunities to go abroad, to make job practices, or to have an international, intercultural experience. So it's more enriching for them. And we like to work quite a lot on a target that is young people having specific needs or having economical difficulties or educational difficulties or coming from difficult backgrounds. And this is what we are focusing. And the way that we are, or we have different branches or different areas that we are focusing. One that is very related to this project is the social and solidarity economy brand or area that we are working. And this is what brought us to be collaborating in this project. And later on, I'm going to be speaking more about what is our role in this. But we're also having other areas, such as the area of active participation and promoting empowerment of young people. And we have another one that is more related to working on interculturality, gender, and discriminations that appear in this social context. And in this area, we work with high schools, for example, and we enter in high schools and have a work about racism or about anti-Roma training programs and workshops. Yeah. So Marius, if you share again the screen, I'm going to be speaking more about what are we doing in this, what is our contribution in this project that is Y Support. We are the leaders, which means that we are coordinating the Intellectual Output 2, that is a training model. And the training model is very linked to what Fenia just shared with you. Fenia and the organization from Greece worked on a toolkit. And what we did in this training model is to adapt in a pedagogical way to end up having a 1 week or a few days workshops to learn about entrepreneurial skills for Roma people, but also for a broader audience, specifically focused on social and solidarity economy. This is the expertise that we are bringing, the social and solidarity economy side. And we co-work with this partnership of 5 organizations to be creating 10 different sessions to learn about entrepreneurial skills and social and solidarity economy. And this is what you can see in the page in the middle. That would be an example of a session, the core of SSE, the core of social and solidarity economy. And we have a step-by-step description of all the activities, exercises, reflections that are used for promoting a learning on that subject. For example, this one is adapted for people that are not skilled or not experienced in this field, but we have other sessions that are for more advanced people. Yeah. And last but not least, in the page at the very right side, we developed different training programs, which means what if we have only 2 days, morning and afternoon sessions? Then we have a concrete proposal of what sessions we would put there, depending on the target group and the time available. If we had 8 days program, we could be fitting different sessions according to the needs and expertise of the target group. And that is basically the training model. It's a guide, it's a script that is ready to be used for any facilitator to promote these entrepreneurial skills on social and solidarity economy, specifically designed for Roma entrepreneurs. That would be it from my side and from NEXES side. Thanks for the space, and I'm going to pass the word to Georgina.
So, thank you. Okay. Thank you. So I am here from the side of ROMEDIA Foundation. My name is Georgina Laboda, and I am really honored to present our role and our organization here on the REDI Summit. So the ROMEDIA Foundation it was established in 1992 in Hungary. We are a Roma-led organization which aims to combat anti-Roma prejudice, anti-Gypsyism, and provide opportunity for self-representation to the Roma communities. With our work, we would like to contribute to the positive perception of Roma ethnic identity and provide alternative information to policymakers about the Roma communities. We would like to achieve this through production of films and videos, international multimedia campaigns, and public events. ROMEDIA Foundation established the Bax Films company a few years ago, 7 years ago, and this is a professional filmmaking company. And just the last year, there was the premiere of the How Far the Stars film directed by Katalin Barsan, our executive director in ROMEDIA Foundation. And this movie was made with the cooperation of HBO, and it's right now available on HBO Go too. We are we have enough knowledge on entrepreneurs skills and video making. So we are responsible to intellectual output 3, which contains 10 video about the project. For the first 5 video, it's going to be 5 video where Roma entrepreneurs practices. Pardon? With the good practices, we aim to encourage other Roma entrepreneurs to start their business. So there will be the first 5 video going to be good practices about Roma entrepreneurs. The second 5 video, we will provide opportunity to just the mentioned before the training module and the toolkit to present in the video format too. And this is would be also perfect for the dissemination to these materials and to reach more young Roma entrepreneurs with these materials. For the left 3 videos, we would like to present available opportunities to young Roma entrepreneurs to start their businesses. And just if I mention a few other things about ROMEDIA Foundation, we know the Roma women has to face multiplied discrimination too. That's why we started in 2013 the Buvero media camp for young Roma women. So our organization is really trying to focus on every layer of the society and provide them media representation. Thank you, and I would like to give the voice to Ani from Bulgaria.
Thank you, Georgina. Hello, everyone. Thank you, REDI, for presenting the project and also including us in this event. It's an honor for us to take part in it, and from what I've seen, the event is very successful, and all the topics are quite relevant also for the situation related to the COVID and all the challenges that we are facing now at the end of this year. So my name is Dimitrova, and I'm from No One Can Association. Marius, can you please share the presentation? Thank you. So No One Can Association is an NGO established in 2007 in Sofia, Bulgaria. It mainly works in the field of non-formal education and on European projects and programs in the fields of education, rights, justice, citizenship, and mobility. We have partners in almost all of the European countries, also in Turkey, Albania, and Macedonia. Our expertise is in non-formal education. We provide career counseling services. We design and develop training programs for different kind of trainings for soft skills, entrepreneurs, and also workshops. In this project, we are responsible mainly for designing and the training event. Can we go to the next slide about the training event? Thank you. So we're planning in our project to organize a learning training activity, which is which will take place for 7 days. The aim is to raise the entrepreneurial spirit and empower young people to follow their business and professional aspirations. The participants that we aim to target are 25 young participants. From out of them, we aim 15 to be Roma entrepreneurs who will develop their business plans during the training activity. They will be also presented to the idea of our project, all the products that have been developed and presented by the partners, and also we will aim to motivate them in achieve their personal and professional objectives, and as well as to exchange experience with other participants from the partners countries. We hope this event will take place physically next year in Romania. However, we are not sure yet how the event is going to be organized and exactly when it's going to take place, as we follow the situation in the countries, and we hope that we'll be able to travel and to organize the event physically. So I would say that in order for you to follow more about the upcoming event, it's good to follow the ICP page and as well as our website for more information about the event. So thank you. That's it for me, and I pass the word to Marius.
Okay, thank you, Annie. One observation here is that we aim to use the instruments basically developed output 1 and output 2 within the learning event. So this will be the first time that we experiment the overall use of what we will develop. Also, as an observation regarding the videos, you will be able to see part of these videos within the break after this session. So we have a video from Hungary and one with an example from Romania. So I would move forward with basically as a conclusion for the iSupport project, what we aim to reach in this project. So we aim to create simple instruments that will come together within a complete package dedicated to future entrepreneurs. We aim to provide media files that will offer examples of local struggles and success stories and initiatives in order to create the sense of awareness. We aim to support Roma youth participation as part of a solution to social inclusion, but also as professional success stories. And we hope that the iSupport outputs will become future instruments for training events, not necessarily within the partnership, but also outside it, as the platform that we will create would serve as an instrument for people within the branch. So with this, I think this is all from my end. I don't know if you have questions or if you want to discuss a little bit about the presentations of my colleagues.
Thank you, Marius. Does anyone have any question for this project? If not, I'd like to thank you once again all the partner organizations in the iSupport project. I think this was a wonderful collaboration. It's very important to maintain transnational youth movements, transnational cooperation, and I'm sure in the upcoming period we'll come up with other great initiatives to work together and help young Roma and non-Roma get together, get creative, and help each other in the entrepreneurial sector and the financial growth. Now I would like to move to our next speaker, Ms. Anna Mirga, the Deputy Director of European Roma Institute of Arts and Culture. Anna, we know that in this COVID-19 pandemic crisis, Roma artists were very much affected, especially financially. A lot of them also collapsed financially. Some of them, try to get creative and use digital tools or other type of tools to maintain their artistic activity. Can you tell us, please, how, from your experience and from the projects that you have initiated, we know that ERIAC reacted immediately and came up with great initiatives. Could you tell us, please, how the artists reacted? How did they respond? How were they affected? And how you succeeded, to support them and meet their needs? Anna, please.
Thank you, Cristina. Good morning, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here. And I would like to thank you so much for inviting ERIAC to talk about our responses to the COVID-19 pandemic. And I would also like to congratulate you for this amazing summit. And it really seems like it's a great success. So congratulations. I have created a short presentation for you to talk about a little bit in response to your question, Cristina, to show a little bit what has been the impact of the pandemic on Roma arts and culture scene and Roma cultural producers, and what we have tried to do to respond and somehow mitigate these challenges. So if you allow me, I will very quickly share my screen. Oh, and for some reason, is it working? Can you see my screen?
I guess soon it will load.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, it's somehow slow, but I think it should be here. Is it here? Can you see my screen now?
Yes. Super.
Okay,
great.
Excellent. So very briefly, for those of you who may not know us, ERIAC, the European Roma Institute for Arts and Culture, is a transnational European-wide institution for the recognition of Roma arts and culture. Founded in 2017, we have been supported and founded by the Open Society Foundations, the Council of Europe, and the Alliance for the European Roma Institute. And we are based in Berlin, but we work internationally, and we are also a membership-based organization currently with 150 members from across the world. And of course, with the outbreak of the pandemic, the impact has been enormous, of course. On March 14, ERIAC has closed its doors, and all the public events that we have planned have been cancelled and have been transformed online. And of course, we immediately started to survey the field to try to understand more deeply what has been the impact and what shall be the role of ERIAC in trying to mitigate and find solutions. So we convened an extraordinary General Assembly on March 31st to discuss with our members what have they recognized as the biggest challenges and the role that ERIAC should play. And the General Assembly concluded that the following three shall remain a priority. On the one hand, taking all ERIAC activities to the digital form, quite logically, but also the importance of providing inspiration and hope in the current extremely difficult circumstances. The second very important aspect that was highlighted during the GA was that fighting anti-Gypsyism and hate speech targeting the Roma has to remain a priority. And we have seen that the outbreak of the pandemic has only intensified what already has been happening throughout European societies. And thirdly, keeping arts and culture on the national European agendas while disseminating information and providing support for the survival of the Roma culture. In follow-up to this, we also have launched a public questionnaire on the impact of Roma arts and culture scene, and we have collected the responses from 29 countries. Here you can see some of the highlights of this research that we've done. Over 71% have been impacted heavily and have had to cancel or modify their activities. Almost 70% of Roma cultural producers have resources to sustain themselves for less than 3 months. And almost 80% have not been offered any provisions of support for the cultural crisis, neither from the municipal, regional, or the national level aid programs. And here, what's very important to understand the deeper dimension of this impact is the way the Roma cultural producers operate in the economic space. And what you can see here is that almost 20% operate in informal economy. And that means that they're also not eligible for emergency funding for cultural entrepreneurs, for example. At the same time, 50% are freelancers or self-employed, which also makes this security net in the times of pandemic much more difficult to have. And here you can see the comparison with the majority society, where 30% of mainstream cultural sector is self-employed and almost 7% is employed. So of course, here there is a huge gap. And what is also even more preoccupying is that not only the economic and the health crisis has been very urgent, but also the human rights and democracy crisis has been very evident. So not only did anti-European sentiments grow, but also anti-Gypsyism has manifested itself much more dramatically, and we have seen scapegoating, false reporting on Roma, and increasing racism. And in this context, what we recognize and what our members also make us understand is that Roma culture is certainly the only positive public discourse about Roma at the moment. So in this spirit, we launched, immediately we started to react in the online space, and we launched 2 initiatives that aimed to encourage Roma communities to both follow the regulations and stay at home while the lockdowns were starting to be imposed all around Europe, but also to instill pride, some sense of hope and the hopefulness in the Roma community. So we launched 2 online competitions. Maybe some of you have seen those. First one was the Stay at Home and Make Music competition, and the second one was the Area Dance competition, where we invited Roma cultural producers, artists, families, and groups to perform in their homes, submit their videos, and win prizes. As you can see here from the data, I will not read it, you can see it. This has been a huge success. There has been an immense response from Roma communities in bringing these videos to us, and we have had an overall together a reach of 2 million viewers on Facebook, creating this kind of positive and counter narrative. But of course, what apart from building an online community and trying to somehow instill hope, we also recognize that, of course, supporting directly Roma arts and culture producers is necessary. So that we needed to create somehow a response that would allow to keep the arts and culture scene alive, but also provide direct support to the individuals, companies, families that work in this field. And this is how REDI started to brainstorm an innovation program that would not only provide direct support, but would also stimulate the scene of Roma arts and culture and try to create new content and also impose new solutions, sustainable solutions that would provide both a multiplier effect and allow Roma arts and culture to keep on thriving. We have created the arts and culture programs thanks to the fact that we successfully managed to fundraise with the Open Society Foundation's rapid response to the COVID pandemic pooled fund. And through this, we created an innovation program, which focused on strengthening resilience of Roma cultural producers, but also by supporting creativity, the spirit of innovation, and self-sustainability. You can see here the priorities or the principles that guided us in devising of this program. And of course, we did not only want to provide direct financial support in the situation of the pandemic, but also wanted to see somehow this as an opportunity to transition online, to create digital solutions, and to also boost collaboration across cultural domains, countries, genders, and generations, and also find a multiplier effect that would benefit not only those cultural producers themselves, but also have impact in Roma families, Roma communities, and the majority society at large. This program has been divided into 3 sub-programs or 3 subcategories. The first one was Going Digital Culture. And here what we tried to do, this subcategory had 2 objectives. On the one hand, we wanted to support Roma arts and culture producers to transition online and to somehow create a space where they can continue creating and continue inspiring, but also be very timely in this shift to the digital. At the same time, we also wanted to address very assertively the misinformation, misrepresentation, and disinformation about Roma in the times of pandemic by creating counter narratives and having media or para-media initiatives that would allow to have another image or another discourse about Roma in this time. The second program the sub-program that we created is the Going Entrepreneurial, which already has been mentioned by Nadire before. We reached out to REDI very early on when we are designing this initiative, because we recognize that there is an immense need of helping Roma arts and culture producers to transition from the informal economy to the formal economy and somehow create a learning experience. This is why, together with REDI, we created a fellowship program that aimed on both bringing self-sustainability to culture, which means helping Roma arts and culture producers to transition into the formal economy and create real businesses and real business plans, but at the same time trying to also bring culture to business. So encouraging businesses and entrepreneurs to pair up with Roma artists or cultural innovators to maybe use designs or work together somehow in matching these two spaces. And the third sub-program was Going Smart, where we wanted to address the impact that the pandemic had also in the sphere of education. Of course, we know very well that the transition of the educational process online has been very challenging for many Roma families and Roma communities. And in order to compensate somehow for this unequal access to quality education, we also wanted to create dynamics of knowledge production and knowledge transfer, both informal and non-formal education systems, and devise educational tools that could be used online. The applicants could apply to ERIAC for stipends or grants of between 2,500 euros to 5,000 euros. ERIAC, as I mentioned, has fundraised successfully with the Open Society Foundation's Rapid Response Pooled Fund to create this project, and we also managed to secure the support of the European Cultural Foundation, REDI, as mentioned here, and also of the Documentation Center for Sinti and Roma in Heidelberg for 3 Holocaust-themed projects. There has been a huge response. We have received 118 applications for 24 countries, which already shows how huge is the need to actually have such granting programs. And you can see here the breakdown of the countries, which really shows that the impact and the need to support Roma arts and culture is really global, from US to Brazil through all the European countries. And finally, the selection committee, composed of the Barvalipe Academy members, has selected 56 projects. 36 individuals and 20 organizations benefited from this grant. And you can see here the breakdown of the projects that we have supported. Overall, ERIAC invested 265,000 euros into this program. And we recognize that this is only a drop in the ocean to respond to the needs and the urgency still on the ground in Roma communities, among Roma families, and in the Roma cultural scene. And so very briefly, just to conclude, what have we learned and what is the situation now? The Arts and Culture Innovation Program has been launched in the summer, and the grants have been paid out during the summer, and the projects are still ongoing. I'd love to share with you more about the amazing initiatives and projects that we are supporting. You can find those by searching the hashtag ERIAC Innovation Program, and we publish and promote the outputs that we have already. But of course, the situation is only getting worse. Unfortunately, the pandemic still continues and it's getting deeper. So we see that the emergency that we've noticed back in the spring now is much more acute. And there is a long-term impact in Roma arts and culture producers in supporting their livelihoods, but also, of course, in the Roma arts and culture scene as such. And what is also very relevant here is that many European countries have already defunded culture. So even before the pandemic, culture has not been very much a priority on national budgets, and now the situation is even worse, and culture has been among the first ones to be cut. And Roma arts and culture as minority culture is even more severely hit, and it's very difficult for minority cultures and minority budgets for culture to be kept on the agenda. This is why ERIAC is doing what we can to advocate for the recognition and raising awareness among both public and private stakeholders to continue supporting arts and culture scene and especially Roma culture. But what is clear for now for us is that we will have to do a lot, and it will really be about Roma making a significant effort to keep Roma culture, arts, heritage, and language alive. This is why we need to be innovative and find new ways of making sure that we can continue to protect and develop the arts and culture scene. And still, the direct support and investment to Roma arts and culture is needed. So this is why REDI will continue to fundraise, and hopefully we will be able to continue with some of those initiatives. And finally, the scapegoating and racism continues. So this is really very important that we create alternative spaces of infrastructure, of knowledge, and of representation of Roma, so that we can counteract these negative images and the anti-Gypsyism we notice. And just very briefly to conclude, REDI, of course, has been trying to do what we can to respond to the needs of our members and the whole Roma arts and culture scene. But there has been also somehow an opportunity in having to be innovative and creative and trying to find solutions in this very dramatic situation. And the digital shift that we have noticed has also produced some fantastic initiatives that we're very proud of and that we will continue developing. One of the priority areas for us is, of course, the question of infrastructure, both physical and digital, in order to represent Roma arts and culture and to build on the developments we have so far. We have created the Barva Lipe Roma Online University, which has launched since September a weekly lecture on Roma identity, history, and culture, delivered by the best, most renowned Roma scholars in conversation with others. I invite you to follow that online university on our Facebook and YouTube and the website of REDI. We have also created the Roma MoMA, which is a space online which performs or imagines what a Roma museum could look like. This is because, of course, we lack institutions and permanent spaces where Roma arts and culture can be promoted and made visible. This is our attempt of trying to create a digital space where Roma culture can be visible. And we have also worked very hard on Romani language initiatives, producing a book on Roma language. We have also built a database of Roma language teachers and translators, and hopefully this initiative will also develop for more sustainable knowledge transfer across communities and investing into the community's knowledge and development of the language. And we have also done a lot with bringing in online events and competitions to promote Roma arts and culture. We focus on those initiatives that have a viral potential so that we can reach as far and wide both to our communities, but also to the majority society. What is also very important in this digital shift is building of an online community that reinforces Roma identity and encourages cooperation and exchange and fostering solidarity and mutual support. And I think this is an important point that we should not underestimate, because the current pandemic has been devastating on so many different levels, and the situation in our communities and our households is many times very difficult. And this is why it's really important that we maintain somehow a spirit of hopefulness. And we see that Roma arts and culture is really a unique strategy and a unique tool that allows us to both draw strength for ourselves and pride, but also to fight disinformation and anti-Gypsyism. So this is why we will continue working in this direction to hope to inspire and bring ourselves together across identities, generations, cultural domains, and hopefully find solutions, sustainable solutions also within our own communities. So this is very briefly what we have been doing. We are very much looking forward to collaborating more with REDI in the future, but also with all the other stakeholders to find synergies and complementarities in our strategies to find solutions to respond to this pandemic. So thank you very much again for the invitation, and I'm looking forward to any comments and questions from you.
Thank you so much, Anna. This was a wonderful presentation. REDI has a great role in the Roma movement, in changing the narratives about Roma in society. And I think arts and entrepreneurship together are a great instrument to fight discrimination and racism against Roma. And our organizations, together with the other pro-Roma organizations, should definitely cooperate, create transnational partnerships, and fight for the bringing justice to Roma, if we can say that. Now I'd like to invite our next speaker, Ms. Dijana Pavlovic from the Kethane movement, to introduce a bit the work that we've done together to support the Roma entrepreneurs in Italy through the call centers. And Dijana, maybe you could tell us a bit more how was the experience so far? How did the Roma entrepreneurs and the community responded? And maybe what should be the new approaches for 2021 in this regard? Also, how should we improve our cooperation with the public authorities and institutions to make them more committed, to support the Roma?
Good
Please,
morning to everyone. Thank you. I want to congratulate with REDI for this amazing event, summit. Well, in Italy, you know that we started really in the end of February to have emergency and crisis. First, I think we were first in Europe. So, I mean, there are a lot of things, I think, as all over the Europe that appeared immediately like an emergency. Of course, we started to have calls from all the communities all over Italy, having this kind of problems with the food, with the documents, recognition of the mayors that they are part of the local community, so they didn't have any kind of support, and all the things that I think because different ways repeated all over the Europe in different countries. One of the most incredible heavy situations was with the Roma collectors, informal collectors of iron on secondary materials, and with the merry-go-round people, the people that are having amusement parks, this kind of activities. And these are almost 40,000 people that are living from this job in Italy. So what happens to these people was that they are, of course, they have a seasonal work. They're working in the summer, and they are not working in winter. So they prepared to start to work in February, and in beginning of the March, they found themselves when they started to have one place and to start to work in one place, and everything blocked. So after the long winter that they didn't work, they paid all the things to start to work, and then the lockdown came, and they were completely without economic resources. So I think that was the most heavy and difficult situation in Italy. And together with this, one big part, I think 60% of these people, they are in part formal and in part non-formal, because there is very complex legislative issue about they are paying taxes, but they are not somehow paying the contributions for the pension. And this was really the problem in the beginning, because the first governmental measures that the government put on the disposal to the entrepreneurs, they could not accede to these measures. So we started to have big meetings online, of course, with these people. We had assemblies with 300, 400 people online and direct, and we started to target some politicians, some MPs, the people that were more sensitive on this issue, and we started to put them in dialogue, and we started to organize a little bit with them. And so we done really big job of advocacy together with them. And so at the end, we succeeded to have some kind of special measures for them that consider something like a 10 million of euro for merry-go-round people in Italy, in two different laws that the government brought. So, I mean, the challenge was really important, and that's where we start to work with REDI, because all the access to all government measures were practically online. So it was really difficult for them to, even if they had some possibility to have some help, it was really impossible for a lot of people to accede to this. They had to create a digital identity or something like this. And when the offices that were open in that time were very small number, and usually they didn't have friendly relationship with the Roma and Sinti people that were going to ask help. So with REDI, we organized this call center, Kethane call center, that was really amazing. We were wondering how many people or what. We just put on our page the number of the phone. REDI provided to us with the phone and this kind of things, and paid one person to answer on the phone. And I think we are near to 400 families that we helped with this call center to accede to the measures. And what is more important is that we supported them also once to create a digital identity and show them how to do. And a lot of these people became somehow autonomous for the other measures that came. So I think it was really important part of what all the things that we done in this period. Of course, the challenges are so many. I mean, from the issue of course of housing, and we had also evictions during the lockdown of some people. So there were really a lot of challenges in a lot of different sectors. We started also to work with the iron collectors and to understand how to help them to organize themselves. So this is all these issues are the job, the work that we will continue next year. We will concentrate next year a lot also on recovery funds, and we will try to create some small place for Roma and Sinti within the recovery plan, Italian recovery plan, especially in a part that consider employment, circular economy, and Green New Deal, digitalization, and this kind of issues. Of course, we will work next year a lot because we had a great job with one of the most important trade union in Italy. This is CGL that work. I think they have 5 million of members. So we are creating also one specific part within this trade union for merry-go-round people that will help a lot for regularization and becoming formal. And on the other part, this alliance will help us to push for some legislative change. So for them, it could be easier to become completely formal. And more or less, these are the things that we are planning for employment issue next year. So if you have any questions, I hope I said the main issues regarding the argument. And if you have any kind of question, I'm here. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me, of course.
Thank you, Diana, for sharing the experience. I think it's very important that we continue working and support the Roma entrepreneurs and the community in Italy. And I think REDI will explore more, ideas for partnering with you. We should definitely add more activities there and also probably expand to other countries, because we get a lot of questions, and even people really ask us, are you going to expand to other countries? Because so many entrepreneurs, so many also people who are not entrepreneurs, but that they are interested to go into the entrepreneurial activity because they find it as a way to develop financially themselves and their communities. And I'm sure we'll do much more in this sense. So thank you once again. Now I would like to ask all of you to share some final thoughts. Maybe what would be the plans of your organizations for 2021? We are very much aware that this year everybody started to use more intensively the digital tools, the online space for their activities, also for the entrepreneurial activities. And I would like to hear if this will be, let's say, one of the main targets in 2021, or what will be the other core activities. So Nadire, maybe you could share us what will REDI do, what is REDI planning to do in the field operations in the next year.
Yeah, thank you, Cristina. So for the beginning, I would want to say that 2020 proved to us that we can do much more than we think. So it took us, first of all, from the main box of thinking out of that box, that we can implement new things in the Roma community, and the behavior of the people can also change. And taking into consideration this, I believe that in 2021, we will be able to see the main impacts of all the programs and efforts that we are putting, we have put it so far actually during this 2020 year. So for next year, one of the main targets for us will be definitely to support entrepreneurs to access financial opportunities from different financial institutions at affordable rates, for example, because now we are launching conversations with public-owned banks to create some sort of much more affordable products to the Roma communities. And this will be one of the main targets that we outreach to a certain number of people that are interested to access to affordable loan products from the operations countries. For the beginning, I mean, our main operations of countries are Serbia, Macedonia, Romania, and Bulgaria. So we are going to focus on these countries, and later, of course, we would want to expand these opportunities in the other countries. And we are planning also to launch the operations of the REDI Fund, which has been really, we have been putting a lot of efforts in the previous year, especially in this 2020 with COVID crisis. So it affected our time frame of starting the activities. So we believe that 21 will be a great start for the REDI Fund to take a bit of leading role in supporting the Roma entrepreneurs. And other than that, one of the main programs that we are going to focus will be also supporting the informal entrepreneurs, because we are going to support them with the digitalization. Roma Digital Boost program will be also one of the main targets that we are going to implement. But besides that, the technical assistance and creating brand identity of their products, bringing them closer to the digital sphere, will be also one of the main targets, because the informal sector, the main idea is that the informal sector will become formalized and will be able to grow their businesses, so that they will be eligible to get access to funding from the financial institutions such as banks and other opportunities in the country. So this is in general some of the targets, but we also continue with the networking business clubs, because as I mentioned in the beginning, we started in Serbia, and the business clubs is something that we really are lacking, and it's needed in each of the countries. And we are planning really to have business clubs in all the operations countries, and also expanding our activities in Visegrad countries, because we implemented also Visegrad project until from last year. So until the end of this year, we are closing that project, but we want to also start our main operation programs in these Visegrad countries with creating business clubs, with networks of business clubs. This would be just shortly what would be our plans, and definitely I think our synergies with our partner organizations will still continue, and our main focus will be together jointly to put efforts and make much better programs and impact in the community.
Thank you, Nadire. Thank you. Marius, I would like to ask you to share with us your main conclusions of the iSupport project, and also how are you going to promote further the intellect, let's say, the outcomes of the project, also the methodology developed. Marius?
Sorry about that. So on behalf of the work done within the project, I would also want to add that at a certain point, we realized that the situations in the countries are very different, as we have Eastern Europe countries and Western Europe countries. So we decided at one point to make a general situation on what is found on the field. And what we found is that there's no secret recipe, but constant support provided better results. Constant support for social entrepreneurship mostly provided better result than let's say some form of financing, some form of support from now and then 1 year, and then we would have 2 years or 3 years of not providing any source of financing. So I think within the COVID situation, it will be the same thing. So basically, we would need to provide support. Support needs to be constant, even if it's in small amounts. It will bring better results this way. I think what we found is networking events and networking, even the digital form of networking will be essential in the future. At this point, we also shifted the iSupport project because basically we made some changes in the outputs, and we decided to make a digital platform as an educational tool that we aim to use in the future. Also for the current outputs that we have, but the platform is also constructed to support additional information during the next period. So I think this is my point.
Thank you so much, Marius. I would like just to add that we, after this session at 12, we will show on our Facebook page the videos created, part of the iSupport project, presenting the businesses created by a few of the entrepreneurs and the young people, part of the project. Now I would like to ask Anna, what are the plans of ERIAC in 2021? Are you going to develop further the Arts and Culture Innovation Program, and maybe main highlights?
Thank you, Cristina. So yes, I think a little bit in the spirit of Nadire's response of trying to understand what we have learned. And I would speak both on behalf of ERIAC, but also I think looking at the scene and the Roma arts and culture producers, what is a really very hopeful and very inspiring, I think, learning or a reflection from this year is that the capacity of being flexible, adaptive, and innovative of Roma communities is enormous. And I can speak from the ERIAC's perspective that the fact that we are an arts and culture institution that is relatively small and new also allows us to be agile and to adapt much more quickly. This is why somehow we feel that there is a chance of being, very innovative and very creative, and even somehow avant-garde in trying to see how arts and culture institutions can adapt and work or operate differently. This is one thing, and the other thing that for me was very hopeful to see is that in the situation of such a dramatic impact in Roma communities and lack of presence of the state in many communities in many countries, Roma communities themselves responded. So there were a lot of kind of grassroots self-help initiatives and kind of self-investment, and this is absolutely amazing. And I think this is really important for us to keep that in our minds to see how we can generate collective resources with the little that we have and support each other. And this is something that we need to find a structural way of supporting and developing further, and we should really take pride in it. And majority society, I think, many times can take example of how Roma communities, families behaved to support each other. So that's amazing. And ERIAC will, for next year, we will try to bring continuity to much of our initiatives. What's really important is that ERIAC finally concluded its strategy building process. So we now have a much more strategic and oriented way of acting as of next year. And we will be concentrating on infrastructure, both in physical and digital spaces, so that we can create sustainable frameworks and structures for Roma arts and culture producers to operate in. We will focus on knowledge production and knowledge transfer, and also we will focus very much on strengthening Roma identity and Roma communities. So we hope to work very closely also with local grassroots Roma networks, and we've been doing this already in many countries, of trying to see how ERIAC can provide support to local struggles, and also become a hub that allows this international and local interaction and exchange on these levels. With regards to the specificities, we will be continuing with the Roma Online University and with the Romani Language Initiative at the Roma MoMA programs, so the 3 programs I outlined very briefly. So these will for sure continue. We are also opening our first ERIAC branch. We are very, very happy, very proud that ERIAC will be present in Belgrade. So we are hoping to also have a much stronger presence in the region. And we have been working also with local networks, for example, with Opera Roma in Serbia, with trying to see how we can support Roma musicians and Roma cultural entrepreneurs in the country. So this is something that will for sure continue. And of course, we are looking also forward to building closer synergies with our partners, with REDI in particular, but also with other international organizations and foundations, so that we can find the complementarity to our projects. And also working much more closely with our members and the local grassroots organizations, so that we can find how we can interact more strategically together. The big challenge for us, of course, is the aspect of resources and fundraising. It is extremely difficult to fundraise for arts and culture, as many donors and countries and public authorities sees this as a luxury product, and that does not understand that this is livelihoods of entire families, and also the interconnection of culture and democracy and democratic values. So we are working hard in trying to push in that direction. Next year is important because also the national strategies of Roma inclusion that have been just recently approved on the European level, the countries will now have to submit their own local strategies, national strategies, by September 2021. There is a chapter on Roma identity, culture, history, and the media. So we hope that at least there will be budget funding for this purpose. But again, this is difficult. So I think it's also important that we support each other's causes and find ways of working together, so that we can create a critical mass and a growing understanding of why it's so important to invest in arts and culture, in cultural entrepreneurship, but also cultural production. So this is just briefly to respond to your question.
Thank you, Anna, so much, and I'm sure we will find the ways to enhance our cooperation in the near future. I would like also to ask our colleagues and partners from the iSupport project to share your final thoughts and maybe shortly the plans for 2021. Fenia, would you be so kind, please?
Yes, thank you. I think that it will be a successful project, even though this year was very difficult for everyone due to the pandemic situation. That is why we try to collaborate effectively, even though we didn't have the chance to meet again, rather than the first kickoff meeting that we met in Romania. But I think that we are trying to adjust to the situation, and the situation is actually going to improve. So I think that I want to see the future bright and to be very optimistic about this. And I believe that the topic of our project is very important, and it addresses to young people with disadvantaged people, Roma entrepreneurs, and I think that is a field that we can work on, and there are many elements that we can provide. So I believe that everything eventually will go well.
Thank you. Thank you. And Georgina?
Thank you. So from ROMEDIA side, we suffered from the COVID-19 pandemic, not only as organization, but also as media art contributors. So we just really hope for the 2021, like let's try to bring out the most what we can for the interest of Roma communities in Europe, what we can.
Thank you so much, Georgina. Diana, also I would like to ask you what are the plans of your organization, and how we can enhance more our cooperation in 2021.
Yes, I like everything will go well. It is really encouraging, and I hope so. Well, in part I said what is the plan of Kethane for the next year, more or less. It is, of course, merry-go-round people has to. This kind of job has to have continuity, so we will push very hard for legislative changes and give the possibility to these people to formalize their job, and this is one of the priorities of the organization. We have this recovery fund opportunity because this is really opportunity for all of us in Europe, and we have to. The first part of the next year will be crucial for to insert and create and push for the small part of these funds to be dedicated, especially to employment and work issue of Roma. We will face next year for sure and deepen the issue of informal economy in the collecting of iron and collecting of secondary materials. And this is one of the spaces in Italy that nobody faced until now. We have some old researches that are speaking about only for the city of Rome in Italy, that this kind of economy is something per year, something like 80 millions of euro of bringing informal economy. And this is a good chance for us to explain to the Italian state that the opportunity to legalize, to invest in this kind of economy is not only Roma interest, but it's also Italian country interest. Of course, we will have big issues with the recognition of the status of minority, and that's why we hope ERIAC can participate in this kind of campaign we will do the next year. And also we had some kind of research on education, and I have to tell you that 40% of kids during the first lockdown, Roma kids were never contacted by the schools in Italy, not even once. So if we speak about work, about young people, about the future, we have to also face the education issue that is really tough and complicated, and much more complicated after COVID situation. So I think that with REDI, I was listening to Nadire, and I think we have really the same ideas and the same path and the same ideas for future. So I think we should find, not only, of course, with the call center, assisted people and help people to create their plans for the future, but also with this kind of recycling materials and informal workers. I think we have a big space to cooperate together in Italy, and to understand together how REDI, as international, as trans-European actor, can also support and help us for our plans in Italy, which is, of course, Marius said, it is different situations, and Western and Eastern countries are very different. So we have to, I think we should spend some time together with REDI to understand how we can support each other and create opportunities for Roma people in Italy.
Thank you, Diana. I think it is indeed really important that we keep discussing, we keep informing ourselves about the initiatives we have and the activities we plan, and I'm sure that we will do it more often. Because this will help us strengthen our common efforts in the Roma cause. And I would like to ask I'd like to thank once again all of you for this. Meaningful contributions to this session and discussion. And if there are no other questions or comments, we will close the session. And I would like to invite everyone to watch 2 of the videos, as I mentioned, that were created part of the iSupport project. Showing the work of the entrepreneurs and their products. One is from Romania and one is from Hungary, created together with the ROMEDIA Foundation. So I will ask my colleagues from the technical side to provide us with these videos. Thank you once again, and I hope soon we can meet in person, after the pandemic will finish and have real life events. Thank you so much once again. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you.
Right now, we are 4 employees here in Romania, but our goal is to become a medium-sized factory with maybe 100 or 200 Roma employees here in Romania. What we mainly do now is screen printing, but there are a lot of other types of printing techniques, embroidery, etc. that we're also looking to do. So as we expand the type of techniques that we do, the type of products that we can offer, and as well as start selling more, getting more customers, then we can expand. We didn't start from zero when we came here because we already had a print shop that we moved from Oslo where Gutsa had worked, which then he could bring with him all the experience and expertise that he already had. Also, we have had our company for almost 5 years, which means that we have a lot of customers that already are buying from us, that can recommend to their friends. We have both customers that are buy from our web shop, but also customers that buy clothing with their logo for their companies or organizations. This is our first experience with having a company in Romania, and of course there are a lot of things that you can't quite imagine how it's going to be before you actually try doing them. In Romania, it's particularly complicated with the bureaucracy, with the papers that you have to prepare for registering the company, banking, etc. There also is very, very high taxes on income here in Romania, which all of these things, it makes more and more sense to me why a lot of people are actually leaving Romania and want to work abroad. So there is a big challenge with the government in Romania and how they can make it easier for actually starting businesses and making it easier to create something here in Romania. That would be beneficial for everybody. But I do think the biggest challenge for anyone who wants to start a production company is how are you going to sell what you produce? luckily we already have customers, so we didn't start from the very beginning. Try to find working possibilities. But because of discrimination and lack of network, many times they're not able to find work either here in Romania or in other countries. In the factory in Romania that we just started 2 weeks ago, the whole reason that we started a factory here in Romania was to be able to create good jobs for Roma here in Romania. So our company is exclusively hiring Roma for our work positions. The factory prints on t-shirts and other types of clothing that we sell to businesses and organizations primarily in Norway, but also our goal is to sell in other European countries.
Lapozgattam azt a hatalmas nagy könyvet, amiben az egyetemre kell jelentkezni, de valahogy semmi nem tetszett. Aztán hát nagyon szeretem a kisgyerekeket, szeretek a babákkal foglalkozni, valahogy itt köztük nagyon jól érzem magam, és hát megakadt a szemem a szülésznő szakon. Hát mondom, akkor belevágok, ez nem állhat tőlem annyira távol. Aztán jelentkeztem is, de a 3. évben úgy éreztem, hogy ez nem én vagyok, tehát hogy ez nem szívből jön. Valami olyant kerestem, amiben egy mélyen bele tudom ásni magam, tehát hogyha azt mondják, hogy mivel foglalkozom, azt tudja mondani, hogy én a hobbimból élek, imádom, amit csinálok. Eljött ez a covidos időszak, és akkor volt lehetőségem így picit elcsendesedni, belegondolni abba, hogy mi az, amit én szeretek. És egy nagyon jó barátnőm tanácsára így elkezdtem leírni azokat, hogy mi az, ami engem boldoggá tesz, mit csinálok akkor, amikor nincs is semmi dolgom, vagy mi lenne az a dolog, amit akkor is csinálnék, hogyha nem fizetnének érte. És akkor jöttem rá, hogy én mindig is alkottam valahogyan. Tehát nagyon szeretek sütni, tehát ilyen kézműves dolgokat csinálni. Volt egy nagyon jó beszélgetésünk például, ő divattervezőként végzett, és most táskatervező. És amikor mesél a foglalkozásáról, akkor folyton azt mondja, hogy csillog a szemem. És akkor jöttem rá, hogy nekem is valami hasonlóval kell foglalkoznom, és így összekötöttem így a babákkal, és létrejött ez a vállalkozás. Nonna Babynek neveztem el, és kézműves termékeket gyártok, legfőképpen újszülött babák részére. Igyekszem a környezettudatosság jegyében dolgozni, ezért legfőképpen biopamuttal és 100% pamuttal dolgozom. Szeretnék a saját lábamon állni. Valahogy ez mindig taszított engem, hogy be van osztva a munkaidőm, hogy reggel 8-tól 6-ig, ha szakad neked, ott kell ülnöd és utasításokat követni, de ezekben a szívem meg a lelkem nincsen benne. És igazából ezzel a tevékenységgel egész nap tudnék foglalkozni. Tehát ami tényleg motivál, hogy valami olyan dolgot adjak ki a kezemből, ami valakinek a szemléletmódját egy kicsit így megváltoztatja, hogy igen, nem akarok műanyag játékokat felhalmozni, mert hogyha a gyerekemet olyan tárgyakkal veszem körbe, ami teljesen biopamutból készült, vagy tehát környezettudatos, vagy környezetbarát anyagból készül, tehát neki már felnőtt korában lehet, hogy természetes lesz az, hogy nem csomagolok mindent műanyagba, nem veszek műanyag játékokat, ami mondjuk 2 hét után tönkre megy, tehát kicsit ilyen hosszú távban gondolkozni. Hát a nehézség az, hogy minden az én kezemben van. Tehát még annyira kicsi és kezdő ez a vállalkozás, hogy nem tudok még kiadni a kezemből semmit. Tehát a marketingtől kezdve a tárgyak elkészítésén át, a pénzügyi dolgokon keresztül, tehát mindent én csinálok. A férjem nagyon sokat segít, főleg a pénzügyi dolgom, tehát hogy számlát tudjak adni arról, amit csinálok, de még így is nagyon élvezem, de így nehéz, hogy mindent én csinálok, de remélem, hogy majd leszek olyan nagy, hogy többen leszünk. Elkezdtem valami néven gondolkoztam, hogy ami tükrözi az egész szemléletmódomat, így a stílusa is így kihozza azt, hogy ez egy ilyen letisztult márka. És így mindig, tehát találkoztam valami jó kis névvel, azt mindig leírtam, van egy ilyen A4-es oldalam, az tele van nevekkel. És végül a Nonna Baby-t választottam, és elkezdtem rajzolgatni logókat. És lett egy, ami nagyon megtetszett, és akkor csináljunk egy Facebook oldalt. Tehát, hogy igazából így indult ez az egész. Webshop, Facebook, Instagramon keresztül van lehetőség szerintem most leginkább. Most a piacok úgy annyira nem mennek, de majd oda is szeretnék eljutni, hogyha ennek úgy vége.